Welcome to another video. It's been a couple of months since I've made my last one. However, I've made a return to Gran Turismo Sport and I've decided to highlight the week again. The reason why I took a break was Division 2 got in the way. I had some fun with that game, but I'm now invested into Gran Turismo Sport again. So started off by highlighting most of my experiences throughout the week. It took some time to adjust to racing again. I also picked the NSX, which is a harder car to drive. And I was just making mistakes throughout the whole week. I had some good times and some good races, but the mistakes were just far too common for me. And as you can see, they're just repetitive. A lot of the same corners. A lot of people struggled with this as well, but I'd like to think I could have done a little bit better, but silly things like this just happened, and anyway, I hope to get better and get more consistent. Apart from just screwing up and losing it, I was struggling with the penalties. It's been a while since I raced, like I mentioned, a couple months, and from what I understand, the new penalty system is in place and some of the track limits are stricter, but I just found some inconsistencies that I really struggled with, especially turn 1 at this track. I could effectively run it wide and not get a penalty, but if I kind of kept it tight and used, maybe just tapped that yellow sausage with my inside wheel, I'd get a penalty. So I was struggling to figure out where and when I should do things, and as the week progressed I got better and better at keeping my lines tighter and neater, but as you can see here, I just really struggled, just getting penalties here and there, hitting other cars, being sloppy in general. I've had some races ruined just by some penalties, so anyway, we'll kind of move on from there, but I really need to get better. And as the week went on, I did get better. I qualified with a 128.5 for the NSX. There was a top 10 person with the NSX in the Oceania region that had a sub 28 time. So I used their ghost and tried to learn the track and learn as much as I could from them. And I could match their sector 1 times and sector 3 times. Sector 2 was my weak point. I'm pretty sure it's turn 3. I can't match the entry, I can't match the speed through the corner. If I brake too early and get on the throttle, the rear steps out of me. If I brake later, there's too much momentum and the rear steps out of me. So I really didn't have a lot of options. I just couldn't figure out how to do it. And so I just stuck to the way I could drive it, and 28.5 I thought was respectable, especially considering I wasn't in an R8. But I like to think that this car was pretty good. It was hard to drive. Very hard to drive at the limit. There were pros and cons. The pros were corner exits. I had to start my turn-ins later, have a wide entry in, late apex, and get on the power as soon as I could. This really worked to my advantage because the straight line speed in the NSX was really lacking compared to the R8, compared to Mustangs, compared to the Aston that's behind me now. I just had nothing in a straight line. I really had to be in the slipstream to keep up, and if I wasn't in the slipstream and someone else was, they could catch me. So effectively with the NSX it was constant battle for defending. Very hard to overtake. I really just had to try and wait for someone to screw up, get into a gap that breaks the slipstream, because it was just not quick enough. As you can see here, like, this is the only time I really had a run on a Mustang, and coming down through to the next straight, I take this guy early on the inside, clean enough, and then you can see here just how much I really lose out as we come down the main straight. I think I'm doing alright to the Mustang, but then the Aston just comes through and collects almost both of us in one corner, so a really good move by this guy. And this is where I think the race really got interesting. As we start the second straight, the Mustang's just going to have more speed than me. He's going to pass me, so I keep it to the right, so I have the inside line for turn 3. He's almost alongside me, but I've got the inside line. I just got to try and brake and hit my brake markers and get through the corner. And get onto the gas as soon as I can, because that's how I'm quick with this car. You see here, just full throttle now. Through these S's, I gain quite a bit of time on people. As you can see, that late entry, the Mustang has almost an open door, almost an invite to get his to put his nose on the inside, which is something I just had to deal with being in the NSX. I had to keep my lines wide to be competitive, and that was one of the weaknesses for it. You know, it allowed people to stick their nose in and effectively have an attacking opportunity on me. As we approach turn 1, I pretty much nailed this corner. I get the turn in perfect, I'm on the gas nice and early, and you see me close the gap to the Aston. I'm in his slipstream now, and you're going to see the difference in speed. It's only really at the end of this straight I really get momentum on him. Yeah, there's not much I can do. He covers off, he goes on the defensive line, I pull alongside him on the outside. I get a good run out of that corner, but I didn't expect him to run out wide like that. I was hoping he would be on the inside more, so I kind of gambled on staying outside and getting on the gas, and he basically sealed the door on me. Not to any discredit to him, I just made a poor choice then. Now coming through here, we're losing third and fourth, which is really good, because I don't need to concentrate on being defensive now. I can just stick to my qualifying kind of mentality and, you know, try and do the lines I would when I qualify. It's a little bit harder in the slipstream with someone. I have to brake a little bit earlier, I have to be a little bit more conscious of the speed difference. And you can see here the Aston's kind of pulled away, but as you watch now, I'm going to really gain on him through these two corners. I've screwed that one up, and it looks like he's got a gap, but just watch it through here, you can see how much I can pull on him. And this is what this car was really good at, just getting that turn in, getting onto the gas. That's how you had to take advantage of the car. Approaching turn 1 again, not as good as the previous lap. I had to shift out to second, but you're going to see the same thing as what happened the lap before. I'm not going to get that much of a run on him. However, he's going to go defensive, a lot more defensive than he did, which gives me a clear sightline of what I can do. And I turn in earlier this time and I try and get the cutback on him, and I get a really good exit out of this corner, and you see me pull up alongside him. Now coming up to turn 3, I used a little patch on the ground just before the 100 mark as my braking point, and I can't see it from this angle, so I braked a little bit early because I didn't want to overshoot the brake and run him off the road, so I played it safe there, which is a shame because I think if I could have seen my brake marker, I think I could have maybe done a move there. Now coming through here, I've got to try and make this gap a little bit smaller, so I get a little bit aggressive on the throttle, you know, using the track as much as possible. And then as I come through here, I get a penalty, and I'm not too sure why I got a penalty. So I reviewed the replay, and it was, I don't know, like, coming through here, I know that if I'm on the outside of the white line as the curb ends, that's a penalty. Now, looking through here, I've got, you know, my wheels are on the line, over the line a little bit, so this looks pretty good to me. I don't see any issues here. Now, we'll move on to the next corner, which I think is where the issue was. So I'm going to come through, you know, it's going to be hard to pinpoint the exact moment, but we'll see if we can do it. Now, stop it here. Now, maybe just move it a bit, or just check the angle here. Now, it looks pretty close, and I don't know about this. My rear wheel looks like it's on the curbing. Front wheel also looks like it's on the curbing. I don't know exactly where the track limit is. I'll just advance a few frames here and see what happens after this point. And yeah, I think this is where I cut the corner. If you have a look here, my front tire is not on the curbing anymore, so I think this is what gave me the penalty. You know, if you're going to use the track limits, you know, you want to do a pretty damn good job. I just think I went, you know, 101%, which is just too much, and it cost me the penalty. So, oh well, live and learn. Now, as we come through here, I'm going to try and close this gap because I got half a second to make up, and half a second is not half a second of the penalty. It's going to be almost a second. So I'm going to try and minimise the gap now, so you know, when I fall back it's not as bad as it should be. Rinse and repeat of the last 2 laps. I had to drop down to second gear for this one again, so not as good as the first time I showed it. But I'm just going to sit in the slipstream now, just try as much as I can to close this gap, because this is going to hurt. The penalty zone's just around this corner. Now I do this corner really well. I don't know if he struggled on it, but I'm right on his tail now. And unfortunately, this is where the race is lost. I think I could have sat behind him for the beginning of this straight, and I think I may have been able to do something at the end here, but we'll never know because I got that penalty. And unfortunately, that's the summary of the week. Really, it's just I had some fairly good races. I had some really good races on my US account with some people, and I went through a period where, you know, initially during the week I wasn't that fast, you know, making mistakes, and in the middle, towards the end of the week, I was doing really well, you know, doing low 29s, cracking a few 28s, and not making mistakes. And then at the end of the week, I think I was just pushing too hard. There were a couple of races on my US account where, you know, I was doing some really quick times, I was playing against some really quick drivers, and I was just making mistakes, and I think I was just pushing too hard. But anyway, it's good to be back, and thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you guys next time. Thanks guys, enjoy.